How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about some mail I got from one of my subscribers. And when I say mail, I don't mean email, I mean snail mail. This is my actual P.O. box. It's not my home address, so I'm not going to get mad if you send me anything. But you can see by the packaging, it's quite a bit of information. Some of it is handwritten. Some of it is some sheets that have been printed out from reputable sources, which I will put in the box below. But the essence of what was talked about in this piece of information that I've received is abortion in the black community and how it's so bad and how it's so disproportionate. It's to the point where it is a genocide. Now, will I say there's some kind of invisible hand behind the scenes making all these things happen? No, I think there is a concerted effort to push abortion on the black community, and much of it comes from within, because abortion is a thing that the left, they promote all the time. You see what's happening right now in the news where they're trying to put out this red herring, this false piece of information about Brett Kavanaugh or anybody else that Trump selects for the Supreme Court. You saw that video I did where the Women's March said XX, like it didn't even replace the person's name. They already had their opinion about the person before they were announced because the opinion is not really real. They put out a thing about they're going to repeal Roe versus Wade to make people that vote left or that think abortion is birth control and a woman's right. They put that out there to discredit Trump and anybody else that he selects. But for now, I digress. Do I think that Roe v. Wade should be abolished? Absolutely, yes. But I think that's kind of a reach because so many people think that this is a normal thing. I think a good compromise, if I'm not able to get my way, would be to have abortion limited and have many of these Planned Parenthood shut down. Trump did a good thing by starting the process of defunding Planned Parenthood on a federal level. He didn't totally defund it, but he took some of the money away. I mean, if Planned Parenthood has all this money to give to political people, then why do they need federal money? And why should we be funding abortion mills? Some would say that Planned Parenthood abortion is only 3% of their services. If that's the case, then they wouldn't miss it, right? If you only have 3% of your services removed, then you can still keep going and you would still do the same work you have been doing. They didn't want to get rid of abortionists because that is their primary moneymaker. They may say it's only 3% of the services because if you go and get an abortion, they can sit down and talk to you about, I don't know, just your physical health in general. They can give you a pamphlet, maybe give you some pills, and then by the time it's all said and done, although you came in there for an abortion, they did a few things around the abortion that count as services. You see how that works? But at the end of the day, at least I say 35, 40, maybe even half of their money or more is from abortion. And then the other things they get money for are related to their abortion. But for now, I digress. At the end of the day, you got like 75 to 80% of Planned Parenthoods in black communities, which is way too many, which points to the whole thing about access to abortion. I got into a debate with Destiny, and he's saying, well, how do you know that black people have access to abortion? Because you don't know if every person that's black who wanted an abortion got one, but the access to abortion has never been the issue. I mean, in New York City, unfortunately, in the year 2012, you had more black babies aborted than were actually born by a margin of 6,500. And this same stat can be seen all across the country. Here's a piece of information right here that I got from my subscriber by the name of Mac. I don't want to say their full name, so they're known as Mac for now. You see it on the screen before you. This comes straight from the CDC. 35% of aborted babies are black. And this is without even having all the states that are actually reporting. Now, to the credit of anybody that's watching or to abortion supporters, this number could be lower, but not by much, because the numbers that are reported are not just for blacks. The 35% is for all states that report. It could be lower, probably like as little as 28%, but it's probably right around 35%, which is too high considering how black people are only 13% of the U.S. population. Okay. At best, we're probably about 12.3 to 12.6% of the population. And that's largely because you've had 20 million or so black babies that have been aborted since 1973, Roe v. Wade, minimum 17 million. There's been about 54 million abortions in total in the U.S. So we represent too high of a percentage of that number, and it really needs to come down. Now, I don't think there's some kind of invisible hand behind the scenes making this be so, but at the same time, I think the reason why it's so is because so many of us vote for the Democratic Party. Many of us vote for the Democratic Party reluctantly. We've been bullied our whole lives. I mean, I know many black folks and myself. I've seen stories, I've heard stories. This can be proven. Many of us get death threats. If you want to, escape a Democratic plantation, oh yeah, expect to get death threats. Just go to anybody's YouTube channel, go to my channel, comments, go to anyone's comment section that happens to be a black conservative, and you'll see the comments. You can just read it for yourself. And anyone that's in public office, Condoleezza Rice, Clarence Thomas, or whatever, these people get all types of threats. Thomas Sowell is a guy that's very difficult to get an interview with or to even really know where he lives, because he's been getting death threats for years and years and years. Thomas Sowell even made a joke about how him and Walter Williams, another great black conservative, should not be in the same place at the same time because of all the death threats they get. You wouldn't want to have the two people that represent a good thing in the black community and for America in general to be eliminated at once. But I'll digress. The whole point is that it can be very violent and dangerous when you want to jump ship and go to the other side. This is why, or part of the reason why, I call it a Democratic plantation. But let's get back to the abortion. Max sent me some good information here. Not good as far as I enjoy it, but as far as it really being informative. Here's another piece of information. A pastor says abortion kills 3 times more black lives as heart disease, cancer, and stroke. Now, that's probably all combined. Okay. And I would also put in there HIV, AIDS, car accidents, homicide, suicide, fire, all of that. Because you had 20 million. I mean, really, we should be much more population-wise in the U.S. We're only about 36 million black folks it is in the United States. We should be at least 25 to 30% higher. Hispanics should not have overtaken us. Now, I know that's not just because of in the United States they're reproducing. I know a lot of that comes from southern border and immigration, legally or illegally, but they're also outproducing us in the birth rate. Many people don't know that the black birth rate is lower than replacement. Replacement rate for Western peoples is about 2.1. It's higher in the third world country because you have much more infant mortality. But in the Western world, in the United States especially, it's about 2.1. Blacks are at about 1.83, and whites are less than them at about 1.6. But the reason for whites being lower is not because of abortions necessarily. It's because of, family planning and stuff like that, which is a whole different story. But the reason why we're lower is generally because of the abortion. And you can see it. I mean, 20 million, 17 to 20 million since 1973, 45 years. That's definitely going to diminish your population. And one more thing that Max sent me, which is great, is that Planned Parenthood is not the end all be all for public health. I mean, look, you have many free clinics that exist all throughout the black community, Hispanic community, America in general. Planned Parenthood is not the end all be all for your health needs. So this whole thing about, abortion is only 3% of the services, they do many more things. If you defund Planned Parenthood, women would not have access to this, access to that. Well, here's some information, and I'll place all these links in the box. Let me see if I can read it and show it to you at the same time. Federally funded community health centers, about 11,000 versus 665 Planned Parenthoods. Let me see if I can just bring that to you in focus. Right there. And they offer far more services than Planned Parenthood does. So why do we need Planned Parenthood? If we totally just eliminated Planned Parenthood and took away all their funding, then we would still be able to have things that we need. There's all types of free clinics all over the United States that provide good services. Sometimes you have places that provide free surgery. That's not necessarily that common, but at the end of the day, Planned Parenthood is not necessary. They are an abortion mill that's masquerading as this public health center. Abortion is not healthcare. Abortion is just terminating the life of a developing baby. And one question I have for abortion advocates is, if you refer to a developing baby in the womb as a fetus, at what point does that fetus become a baby? It's got to be a baby at some point. Okay. Is it a fetus up until it's born? Now you have premature births. You may have births that happen at 5 months, but I've heard people say that you can abort a baby up until 9 months. And if you don't think that you should be that extreme as far as aborting a baby at 9 months, when is the actual point in time when it's safe to abort a baby before it becomes a baby? Or pardon me, I'm gonna use your language, a fetus before it becomes a baby. You know, you say 12 weeks, 13 weeks, 14 weeks. What's the line of demarcation, and what makes a day of a difference? So you say 14 weeks, that's the line of demarcation. Okay, well, what about 13 weeks and 6 days? Why is 13 weeks and 6 days not a baby, but 14 weeks is a baby? What is medically different between that point in time? People just pick random arbitrary times that are a little bit beyond the actual conception to make abortion be okay. At the end of the day, as I close, abortion is a really big problem. You're talking about the black community, 13% of the population at best, but around 1/3 of all abortions. The Planned Parenthoods are strategically located right in black and brown areas. I asked one person who works at Planned Parenthood why that's so. I said, well, why are your abortion mills right in the black area? And she said it's because of a high demand. So I mean, to me, that points to somebody that is not necessarily doing it out of charity. They're doing it because of business. It's like, okay, I'm going to go to where there's a higher demand. And why is the demand high? It's because of the black community's marriage to the Democratic Party, which is a recent phenomenon. And a lot of that is done by threat of violence and also the general society that is around us. And that is the whole point of me doing this video. I want to wake you up if you're out there. Don't just feel like you have to be aligned to the Democratic Party just because you get death threats, because you get bullied. I get all those things, but look, I just deal with it. And if more of us mobilize together and we come out and be strong, they can't do that to us anymore. So that is my message to you. Hopefully it receives you well. Do not let these people on the left tell you that abortion is good for the black community. This right here is something that should really alarm you. 35% of aborted babies being black. We're only 13% of the population. Trump has come out with a thing that is going to reduce that. So already, in my humble opinion, Trump has done much more for the welfare of the black community than Barack Obama did. People want to talk about the past, slavery, KKK, racism, all of that. These things don't hold a candle to many things that people seem to think is normal. Hopefully we're able to get Roe v. Wade abolished. Would it be abolished anytime soon? I doubt it. But a good compromise would be to meet halfway and to not have these abortion clinics everywhere, to not have it be so easily accessible, reduce the amount of killing that happens in the black community on the street level and also in these abortion mills. So what do you think? Do you think Roe v. Wade should be abolished? Do you think it will be abolished? What can be done to reduce the amount of abortion that we have in the country? 54 million babies in total since 1973 in 45 years. Is that a problem to you? Do you think that abortion is a human right, a woman's health right? Whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.